The words on sacred pages do not move, but the shadows in your heart make them dance. Every time you read, the page becomes a mirror, and the mirror becomes judgment. The twisting of Scripture is not trickery, it is revelation unfolding. Warnings are born not from anger, but from mercy dressed as thunder. Sacred verses pierce differently depending on where your wounds lie. The page sharpens its blade only against the parts of you that resist change. What looks like a threat in Scripture is often a rescue in disguise. The ink does not move, but your soul moves, and so the meaning shifts. Sacred words rearrange themselves not to trick you, but to train you. Every warning is a hand extended through fire, daring you to grasp it. The page grows louder when your spirit grows restless. Sacred text does not punish, it reveals where punishment is already waiting. The words you fear most are the ones written specifically for you. Every line you skip is a truth you are not ready to carry. The Scripture you argue with is the Scripture that owns you. What frightens you in sacred pages is the shadow of your own choices. The text twists because you are twisting, straighten, and it will straighten. Every warning is a prophecy spoken in the language of restraint. The louder the verse shouts, the closer you are to a turning point. Sacred texts are rivers. They shift around the rocks you place in their way. The warnings grow heavier only because your steps grow lighter toward danger. Sacred words are alive. They feed off your silence and your secrets. Every sentence you avoid grows teeth until you confront it. The page you fear reading is the very page meant to heal you. Sacred texts shift their voice depending on the ear that listens. What once sounded harsh becomes tender when your heart softens. The words do not twist. They unveil the twisted parts of you. Every verse contains a seed of destiny. It only grows when planted in obedience. The warning in the text is not against you, but for you. Sacred words act as storms, and storms exist to cleanse. The text is eternal, but you are temporary, and that is why you hear it differently. Sacred words bend not because they deceive, but because you resist them. Every verse holds two voices, the voice of comfort and the voice of correction. When your eyes are proud, Scripture wounds. When they are humble, Scripture heals. The page is alive because the Spirit breathes within it. Warnings are not threats. They are shields written in fire. Every time you revisit a verse, it has already been waiting for you. Sacred words twist into warnings only when you stand too close to the edge. The same line that cursed you yesterday may crown you tomorrow. Sacred text does not change, it simply unmasks you. What seems like wrath is often mercy clothed in thunder. Sacred words shift shape to match the posture of your soul. Every warning carries a promise if you read it with faith. The page whispers when you are still, but it roars when you wander. Sacred verses cut not to destroy, but to heal what festers unseen. The text becomes alive in the silence between your breaths. Every sentence sharpens itself against the stone of your resistance. What you see as twisting is often truth trying to straighten you. Sacred words echo forever. You only hear the echo when you listen twice. The warnings are not curses, they are maps. The book shifts its meaning because you shift your path. Every warning is a reflection of what lurks behind your choices. Sacred words breathe fire when you carry ice in your heart. What bends the text is not the ink, but your own fears. The page is alive. It waits until you are vulnerable to speak. Every scripture is a key. You only find the lock when you're lost. Sacred warnings are thunder before the flood. The words change not because they lie, but because you need truth in a new form. Every verse has two faces, one of mercy, one of justice. The scripture mirrors what you refuse to confess. Sacred texts twist like rivers carving stone. They reshape the reader, not themselves. Every warning sounds different depending on how close you are to falling. The book is timeless, but time alters the reader. What seemed like chains yesterday may appear as wings today. Sacred words are alive. They bruise the arrogant and cradle the meek. Every twist in Scripture is a straight path for those who trust. The warnings are love disguised as lightning. Sacred text does not whisper lies. It whispers truths you are not ready for. Every verse is both dagger and salve, depending on how you hold it. The book twists because truth bends to meet you where you are. Sacred words call louder the further you drift. Every page is an echo chamber of your soul. The warning is not punishment. It is a prophecy of consequence. Sacred words adapt like fire. They burn some, illuminate others. The text you resist becomes the text that rules you. Every warning is love translated into thunder. Sacred scripture bends into warnings, not to scare you, but to guard you. The page reflects your shadow more clearly than your face. What frightens you most is usually the truth closest to you. Sacred words reveal more about the reader than about themselves. The book is alive because the reader is alive. Every warning is a hidden blessing, buried deep in thunder. Sacred words twist because your path is twisting. The text adapts to your wounds, bleeding where you bleed. What seems like condemnation is often correction in disguise. Sacred warnings are mirrors of tomorrow written today. Every line holds silence that only the humble can hear. The page does not lie. It reveals lies living in you. Sacred texts breathe differently when your soul is thirsty. The warnings grow stronger the more you ignore them. The book twists not to confuse, but to convict. Every warning is a lighthouse. You may ignore it, but the rocks remain. Sacred words pierce because they carry weight heavier than paper. What frightens you in Scripture is often the part that saves you. The same verse can be judgment to one and freedom to another. Sacred warnings shout because whispers went unheard. Every word shifts tone depending on the ear that hears it. The page bends because truth is bending you. Sacred texts are rivers. You cannot step into the same verse twice. Every warning hides a promise if you dare to seek it. The book evolves because you evolve. Sacred words strike like lightning. The meaning is instant, but the scars remain. Every warning is a prophecy your future self already knows. What bends in the book is not the word, but the world within you. Sacred texts change shape because you change shape. Every sentence wears a mask. Time unmasks it slowly. Sacred words twist into warnings when silence can no longer protect you. The text reflects your intentions like water reflects light. Every warning is a story written backward. You only understand at the end. Sacred texts bend differently for every reader, but the truth remains. The page shifts because your destiny shifts. Sacred words are seeds. They grow into warnings when neglected. Every scripture bends according to your hunger. The book of life is written in ink that only reveals itself when you dare to live it. What feels like punishment in sacred words is often protection in disguise. The warnings you fear are often maps guiding you back to your true path. Every holy verse is alive, reshaping itself according to the strength of the reader. When you return to the same page, it is never the same page. It has grown with you. The truth in sacred words bends like fire. It warms the humble and burns the proud. What looks like commandment is sometimes a reminder that freedom has a price. The text is not changing. You are, and so its meaning changes with you. Every warning in Scripture is a mirror of your present condition. When you read with fear, the text warns. When you read with faith, the text blesses. The voice in the pages is not ink, it is your own conscience amplified. What once looked like chains and words becomes wings when you mature. Sacred texts twist, not because they lie, but because your eyes evolve. Every scripture contains storms, but also shelters if you know where to stand. What is law to one generation becomes wisdom to another. The same sentence that condemns you can also redeem you, depending on how you hold it. Sacred warnings do not cage you, they keep you from stepping into fire. The pages of holy words are alive because the human heart is alive. What is hidden in plain sight is often what you are not yet ready to see. The same verse you skimmed yesterday may strike lightning today. Every sacred word is a seed. The soil of your soul determines how it grows. What looks like judgment is often an invitation to transformation. The text is a river. It bends differently around each reader's heart. Warnings echo only when you walk too close to the edge. Every verse is both sword and shield. It depends how you wield it. Sacred pages are alive. They whisper what you need, not what you want. The prophecy you ignore today becomes the regret you carry tomorrow. The text shapes itself not to trick you, but to test you. Every law is also love if you read it with the right eyes. The warnings are not there to scare you, they are there to save you. Scripture does not change, it awakens different rooms in your soul. Every verse you read twice becomes two different messages. Sacred texts are like mirrors, they only reflect what you bring before them. What was once a whisper becomes thunder when you are ready to listen. The fire in the words does not burn paper, it burns illusions. Every warning is a teacher disguised as thunder. Sacred words are rivers flowing toward your destiny. Step in or stay thirsty. The meaning of a text is not trapped in ink, it is released by your eyes. When you approach with arrogance, Scripture becomes judgment. With humility, it becomes guidance. Every command is an invitation, not a cage. What you call a curse is sometimes protection written in another language. The Scripture twists because your soul twists while reading it. Sacred words reveal their sharp edge only when you need cutting. Every warning has two voices, one that says stop and one that says start. The verse that unsettles you is the verse you need most. Sacred texts are alive. They breathe with every generation. A scripture does not threaten, it prepares. What looks like wrath in words is often fierce love. The warnings echo loudest when your heart is drifting farthest. Sacred pages do not change. Your perception is the author rewriting. What frightens you in Scripture is usually the truth you're avoiding. Every page carries shadows and light. Your eyes choose which you see. The warnings in sacred text are thunderclaps calling you back to shelter. What was once law becomes wisdom once pain has taught you. The Scripture never hides truth. You hide from truth until you are ready. Every warning is a lighthouse. It shines because danger is near. The text speaks, louder the more silent you become. Sacred words test your character before they bless your destiny. Every scripture contains storms, but storms carry rain and rain carries growth. What you once feared in sacred text, you may one day thank for saving you. Sacred words appear twisted only because your perspective is crooked. The warnings become louder when you are closer to your calling. Scripture bends not to deceive, but to reveal. Every text contains both chains and wings. Your choices decide which you receive. The page you avoid is the page that holds your medicine. Warnings exist not to trap you, but to free you from traps you cannot see. Sacred texts transform from rules to revelations when your heart is ready. What condemns the arrogant uplifts the humble. Every verse bends itself into the shape of your journey. Sacred words never grow old, they grow deeper. The book does not twist, you twist, and so the words mirror your bending. Every scripture is a well. You drink according to how thirsty you are. Sacred warnings are storms designed to wash away illusions. What you call harshness in text is discipline in disguise. The page transforms when your soul transforms. Scripture bends into warnings only when you are near danger. Every verse has layers. Warnings live deeper than comfort. Sacred words echo louder in the hearts of those ignoring them. What frightens you in Scripture is often what heals you. Sacred texts are doors. You decide which rooms they open. The warning is not punishment, it is preparation. Sacred words sharpen differently depending on the hand that holds them. Every verse bends toward love, though sometimes it looks like fire. The page does not threaten, it calls. Sacred texts shift shape to match the season of your soul. What once bound you may one day free you if you read again. Every warning is mercy dressed in thunder. The Scripture whispers when you are strong and shouts when you are lost. What looks twisted is often straightened by faith. Sacred texts mirror your fears until you face them. The book does not change, your wounds do, and so words sting differently. Every warning is a compass pointing home. Sacred words cut not to wound, but to heal. What appears as wrath is often hidden grace. The same text that frightens the proud comforts the meek. Sacred words echo eternally, but strike differently each time you listen. Every scripture grows taller the more humble you grow shorter. What you read as curse is often disguised as guidance. The text twists not to break truth, but to break chains. Every page contains lightning. The storm strikes when you are ready. Sacred words change their voice because your soul changes its ears. Every warning is an echo from the future pulling you back to safety. What seems like rebuke is often a disguised rescue. Sacred texts bend themselves toward the posture of your heart. Every page tests your humility before it reveals its treasure. What condemns you now may crown you later. Sacred words transform warnings into wisdom over time. The more you resist the text, the louder it grows. What you once feared may one day be your salvation. Sacred scripture adapts not to confuse, but to prepare. Every word is alive. The living soul reads differently each time. Sacred warnings echo only when you are wandering. The page bends to your spirit. It becomes shadow if you are shadow, light if you are light.